Now for a movie rant break, One Up presents a movie rant break.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the movie rant break. Today I got a fun episode where I'm going to be reviewing a monster movie. Don't do a lot of these. This one that I'm reviewing is Wolfman. Just came out yesterday, which was January 17th. Was directed by Leigh Whannell, written by Leigh Whannell and Corbett Tuck, produced by Jason Blum, starring Christopher Abbott, Julia Garner. She's the woman from Ozark, the crazy trailer trash one. Also starring Sam Jaeger. Cinematography, Stefan Duskio. Great job, Stefan. Edited by Andy Canny. Music by Benjamin Wallfish. Production company was Blumhouse Productions. They do a lot of horror shit, if you weren't aware of that. It was distributed by Universal. Release date was January 17th. Runtime of 103 minutes. Budget $25 million. And the box office opening day allegedly was around $4.5 million. But $25 million for this seems like a lot. There's not a lot of actors. There's not a lot of locations. They're pretty much in the woods in Oregon. Primarily, there's some city shit in the beginning of the film, but they're mostly just in the woods of Oregon. So I don't really know why this movie cost $25 million. But that's okay. Reception of this film, IMDb gave it a 6.1, Rotten Tomatoes 53%. So, like I said, I'm not big into horror or like monster movies per se. So I guess there's been 5 installments of Wolfman starting back in 1941. So I guess this is some reboot of some sort. I don't really know. Excuse me for not knowing a ton about Wolfman, but I mean, that's the origins, and I think that had some decent clout back in the day as far as cinema is concerned in the 40s. I think it was a big deal. Yeah, I mean, brief breakdown. Film starts off with this kid and his father in the woods hunting, and a wolfman emerges. You don't see the wolfman, but they're being pursued by one. And then fast forwards 30 years, and his father, the kid who was hunting with his father, is now a father himself with a wife. And his father that he was hunting with had went missing. And he gets a letter in the mail disclosing that his father has been now declared dead. So now he's going back to his home to pack up his shit in Oregon and do that whole shit. So I will say, opening sequence with the son and the father hunting, I liked it. And I thought it established a good background of the character being the kid, who then becomes an adult and has his own family. And it's like where the character that the film's kind of about. But that opening sequence was good, and I liked the attention to detail that they had when the kid and the father they flee to the tree stand, and you can see the condensation coming off one of the railings of the tree stand, and then the wolfman allegedly is on the other side breathing. You could see the breath of it, and it just is very cinematic and eerie, and it was really well done. Now, when the father the kid who is now a father travels back up to his home in Oregon 30 years later, he allegedly he's unsure of how to get back to his house, which I don't know how long he lived there. He should know how to get back to his house, but there's a gate on the road that he thinks that's leading to his house, so they have to stop because the gate's there. He looks to his left shortly after and sees this dude in a tree stand, which is kind of creepy and kind of funny because they were like having a conversation before, and all of a sudden they see this guy on the tree stand. Tree stand guy comes out and then has a rifle naturally because he's hunting. Offers to give him help to get this dude back to his childhood home, but the road was narrow in one way. I don't think he needs help getting there, but guy offers to help, gets in the car, wife reluctantly allows it. And on the way to their home, his childhood home, car goes off the road. There's someone in the road, swerves, car goes into the trees. Oh shit. So when that happens, two things. I didn't expect them to get in a crash and have the box truck be stuck in the tops of trees. Didn't expect that. But they crashed out in front of his childhood home, which I was like, really? That's where he crashed? I'll allow it. It's fine. But that whole sequence with the guy getting in the vehicle and like trying to find a childhood home with him and like on this narrow road, it just seemed weird and forced. But whatever. And when they did the car crash scene or the box trucks crashing, it looked like they did this cool follow shot and showing the car or the vehicle crashing, but it looked like a Tesla truck. I don't know if they somehow used a Tesla truck and because it was a quick shot, but I was like, was that a Tesla truck? I only saw this movie once, so don't judge me, but that's what it looked like to me. I don't know if it actually was the box truck that crashed or if it was, and I was just way too high when I was watching the movie. I'm not sure, but okay. Moving on from that. I will say the majority of the movie is in one night, and I liked that. I like movies that are contained to one night, like one issue, one location, because I just feel like you can really embellish whatever you're trying to tell for a story. And in this case, which I didn't know what this movie is going to be about entirely, obviously a wolfman, but I didn't know how they were going to present it. And this, I didn't know the dad was going to turn into a wolfman. If I had to guess at the start of the movie, I would have thought the whole family, I would have thought the father dies and then the mother and daughter survive. That's what I would have guessed. But the father becomes a wolfman. And then so the movie is actually about him transforming into a wolfman, which was kind of cool. I liked that aspect of it and to have that perspective and scope of the movie. And then on top of that, the wolfman wasn't CGI, which was nice. The makeup and practical effects looked adequate, and it was its own depiction of it. It was cool. And just the transformation stages, very cool. To like see how it played out, to see this guy lose his humanity and slowly degrade. And I think it was one of the strong points of the movie, showing this, like, if it's like one of two strong points of the film by just showing this transformation of a wolfman. And the other thing that I thought was really cool was the wolfman vision. So it does these 180 pans where like the wife is talking and they do this slow pan to then show the perspective of the wolf, the father who's slowly turning into the wolfman. It shows his perspective and it like slowly starts to give you what he's seeing. And they did a sick job because it shows this like distorted, chaotic, trippy perspective that actually might justify the actions of a wolfman because it's got like distorted sounds and colors and like people's eyes are glowing, and it's almost justification for why a wolfman would attack or just be confused as what's happening. And I haven't really seen that in a lot of movies, and I like tip of the cap to them for that because I thought that was the best part of the movie. And there was one sequence specifically that was awesome, was the guy early on in his transformation process, he hears these loud noises of like banging, and you think it's another wolfman banging on a wall. And the guy walks into this room and it's a closet and he's hearing these bangs really loud. Then he opens the door and you're like, oh, I bet it's fucking wolfman in there or some stupid shit like a jump scare. But it actually was a fucking tarantula. And these loud bangs that he was hearing was the tarantula's legs hitting the wall. But I just thought it was a very cool way to show how his senses were being heightened, that he could even hear the walking of a tarantula on a wall. So like that was really solid, and I really appreciate that whole depiction. And so good for them. That was very, very cool. The tarantula thing was by far the coolest part in the movie for me. It was weird though, because there was a missed opportunity at the end when the Wolfman is about to die. He's looking up in the treetops of like some redwoods or whatever, and he doesn't have his Wolfman vision. And I just thought they should have showed what his last vision and things he was seeing looked like, and they just didn't. So they just showed like regular, like him looking up in the treetops, and I just felt like they should have showed his last breathing things that he saw, and like what his vision was looking at when he was fully transformed, and what that looked like. Yeah, so like two best things was the Wolfman perspective and the transformation of Wolfman, and just showing what it looked like for him to increase his senses. And I think cinematography really anchored the movie pretty well too. Definitely captured some pretty shots. It did still have some like funny, silly undertones. Like when I watch monster movies or horror movies, like depending on how dark it is, it's usually funny. In this case, a funny undertone to me is there's a Wolfman arm that comes through a dog door, and the mother takes traditional, red-handled monkey wrench and is beating on this dude, the Wolfman's arm. And it was ridiculous. And then I think we were supposed to laugh at it. I mean, I did. I was pretty high, but it was funny. Like, she's taking a monkey wrench to this dude's arm through a doggy door. Like, that's funny, right? Like, come on. There was like little things. The one funny line was the father gets startled by the daughter, and the daughter's name is Ginger, and he goes, "Jesus, Ginger." And I just thought that was like hella funny. Like, you're just like, "Jesus, Ginger." So just little stuff like that I appreciated and got a little kick out of. But there was some bad things in the movie. Like, for instance, the radio for help monologue that Julia Garner, is that her name? Yeah, Julia Garner. She does this radio for help, and she's like trying to work up some sort of crying and distress, and I just didn't buy it. I was like, this is a shitty monologue of you trying to radio for help, and I just thought it was cheesy. Then there's also this stupid truck jumpstart scene. This truck is from the 90s, I guess, from when his dad was, when he was a kid or whatever. But it's like she brought her kids out. The Wolfman is pursuing them while her husband is turning into a Wolfman. And she like brings her kid out there, and like, why wouldn't you just jump the car first and then bring your kids out to see if it even starts? Why would you subject your kid and your husband to like the Wolfman while you're trying to jumpstart this vehicle that definitely doesn't look like it's going to start? Naturally, it does. And it was just, the truck looked really bad. Like, it looked like some Jurassic Park vehicles that had been abandoned for 40 years type shit. Like, it didn't, that shit wasn't going to start. I mean, we all know, like, vehicles that you have during the wintertime, they won't start after, like, had been started for, like, a week ago. You know, like, let alone a vehicle that's been sitting there for 30 years. Like, come on. Let's try something different. You could have just took that whole scene out, because it's not like they go anywhere. It was just dumb. It was just something different. Also, the movie circles back to this tree stand situation like they do in the beginning of the movie, and now the husband is the Wolfman outside on the ledge or the railing or edge, whatever, of the tree stand. And you see the breath again, if I'm not mistaken, that whole attention to detail nonsense. But the wife has a rifle and she's with her kid. So it's like the roles are reversed, which is a cool little full circle moment. But she sees he's become the Wolfman and she doesn't want to shoot him. And they look at each other way too long before she pulls the trigger and shoots him. It was like, he's clearly a wolf, man. Just shoot him. Like, what are we doing? Come on. It was comedic where they kept switching the shots to her face, like a tight angle on, or a tight shot to her, and then a tight shot to him and his wolf face and back. And it just was like, just shoot him. Like, what are we doing here? Like, he clearly is not human anymore. And there was also another shot in the film where he was slowly changing, or he had mostly changed, and he had this moment of clarity where he wasn't going to kill her, and they kept doing that tight shot back and forth to her, to him, and it was just one too many times back and forth, and it just became stupid to me. It was like, all right, come on, relax. And you really lost me when the two wolfmen were fighting in the house. I think it would have been better if you should have just had the father turn into the Wolfman and eat his family when he kind of does the majority of the transformation. And I think it would have been cool just to roll the credits rather than try to spend the next, 20, 30 minutes or whatever it was trying to like humanize the Wolfman and just kind of linger on the fact that he's going to die at some point. It just, I don't know. I think it would have been a cool twist where he eats his whole family. That would have made me really like the movie, but it was just a typical ending of a horror monster movie, whatever. But I think overall the movie was pretty well thought out for a monster movie, in my opinion. And between the transformation process to the little details of, showing the condensation and seeing the Wolfman breath and going full circle with all that shit, it was worth a watch, honestly. I mean, to me, it's not an amazing movie where, go check that out. It's so good. But there was things about it that were really good. But overall, it's like, I just don't give a fuck about this kind of movie. And I don't think they're that, like, I don't know why you would rewatch this movie. There's nothing, like the Wolfman fight, for instance, was weak. And it was just they're fighting the house. It was just, I just didn't buy it, like I said. So, I don't know rewatch value what you would do with this movie. But it was worth a watch to kind of, like, see how it played out. And there was cool things to it. But, yeah, for me, it's a one watch, something to smoke, get high to, and enjoy, and that's about it for like just a one watch. And yeah, I'm gonna hit it with a 5.2, and I think that's fair. I mean, like I said, I'm not big into the monster movie shit, but they did some good shit. But I think it still fell victim to a lot of like stagnant ideas and things that like movies like this usually do. So I hope that made sense. All right. Anyways, okay. So that's Wolfman. Let me know if you guys check it out and you guys like it, or maybe I'm off base. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's going to do it over here at the Movie Rant Break. I'm going to hit Wolfman with a 5.2. I appreciate everybody, and I will check you next episode. Deuces.